Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Insight Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing amazing. I am doing great. I was not here last Tuesday for Insight Tuesday. Reason being, I was impacted by Hurricane Beryl. So, for those that are still without power, still without internet, just without right now. Definitely praying for those people. I definitely was one of the people, but we are back and we are going to keep this show on the road. So, for today's Insight Tuesday, it's going to be fairly short, and we're going to be talking about not really a concept per se, but more so about a practice that I think that a lot of people fail to understand or realize as a really good tool for them to use as they are prepping for their RHIA or their RHIT. This practice, if you do it the smart way and the rational way, will surely help you do fairly well on your exams because you'll be a lot more prepared. So I'm going to share my screen like I normally do for these Insight Tuesdays, and let's talk about exactly what I am referring to. And this action, this thing that I recommend that everyone incorporates into their studying as they're prepping for their RHIA or their RHIT, or really any exam for that matter, any certification, is doing that thing is practice questions. Practice questions are one of the smartest ways to really ensure that you know where you need to work and improve to do well on your certification exams. Practice questions. People often say, okay, I'm just going to read the textbook. I am going to just go ahead and once I do that and make my flashcards, I'm going to know exactly what I need to do to pass. And that is not the case. Practice questions are a big factor in doing well on your RHIA, your RHIT, or any other certification. So I want to talk to you guys today about why doing practice questions are so critical. Okay. So why are practice questions important? Why should you do them? Why should you invest your time and your funds to getting and practicing doing these questions? Let's talk about it. First reason, it tests your understanding. It's very easy to open your textbook, read about HIPAA, just read all the text, know what the acronym means, and you feel like you're just good to go. The issue with just studying like that and not doing a sufficient amount of practice questions is that you're not really able to ensure that you actually understand what you have read. That is why, even in school, teachers will stand up there and lecture you about a number of things going on and on and on. And it's not really until test day that you identify if you truly understood what it was that your lecturer, teacher, professor, whoever, if you fully understood what they were testing or lecturing you about. It works the same way for these certification exams. You need to test your understanding, and practice questions allow you to do that for yourself. So, why is it important to, you know, do practice questions? Because you're going to test your actual understanding. Another reason, you're going to get exposure to new concepts. Even if you studied one concept, when you do practice questions, you're going to see new terminology that you've never heard of before within that question. And that's going to hopefully, if you're studying the right way, will take the time to look up those new terms or those new concepts that you may have never seen before and to do your additional work of studying. So exposing yourself to new concepts is very easy to experience when you're doing practice questions, but you're not going to get that experience if you don't invest your time, your energy, and sometimes your funds into getting access to more practice questions. So once again, another reason and another great benefit to doing practice questions. Exposes weaknesses in test taking. Doing practice questions is not only great for the sake of, oh, I know this answer, I know this concept, I'm good to go. Sometimes you may actually understand the concept, but you may be a very slow test taker. And it may take you an extremely long time to answer one question. And even though you know the concepts, you lose time and you're maybe not able to finish your exam because you run out of time. Or maybe you are just very nervous and your nerves get the best of you. So even though you studied and you were able to teach all of your, fellow RHIA, friends about what's gonna be on the exam and you're confident, you go into that testing room not doing enough practice questions and you end up freaking out, literally sometimes shutting down and not being able to be successful on the exam. So doing those practice questions before test day and doing not just, one or two, but several exposes you to those weaknesses that you may have. So passing these exams are not just about knowing the concept, it's also about being a good test taker. And not everybody is a good test taker, but there are tools and there are tips and different avenues that you can take to better improve on that. But in order to do that, you have to first know that you have that problem. And doing the questions will give you that exposure to what it is that you need to improve on when it comes to physically taking exams. Okay, so just spitting here from my dome here on reasons or weaknesses that people can have. I have already mentioned taking exams or rather reviewing questions way too slow, right? So it takes you 5 minutes to answer a question that should probably take you 30 seconds. That happens sometimes. You may be someone who reads questions way too fast, right? So you're speeding through questions and you're not taking the time to break down the question the right way. There is a strategy on how you should approach a RHIA question. I do talk about that in my course. So those that aren't in my course or have taken it in the past know what that process is. But there is a way to break down a question effectively within the time frame that you're giving for the RHIA. Okay, so that is another issue that can happen. Sometimes it's nerves. People at times can freeze up, and I had that issue. Not by the time I was taking the RHIA, but prior to that, I had an issue of freezing up during exams. So I would know the information, but freeze up because I was so nervous and I would end up getting questions wrong. So that is something that if you have it, you want to be sure that you are tackling that issue and working on it. And the only way to fix it, once again, is by doing questions and improving on that particular issue. Okay, so testing too fast, testing too slow, just complete shock may be another one. And then some people have maybe it's a disability situation, right? There are some students that just have been tested and it is confirmed that they just need more time when it comes to taking tests. If you're that person, please be sure that when you're applying to take this RHIA or RHIT or whatever certification, that you let the org know about this. They will ask you to prove, obviously, that this is something that is a medical situation, but they will give you the additional time that you need if you are able to prove that you medically need more time to take exams. Because they want everyone to have a fair opportunity. So those are just some examples of why exposing yourself to practice questions can actually expose weaknesses and overall help you do better in the future. All right. Let's talk about the last one here. Confirms your test readiness. I don't care how many flashcards you make. I don't care how many pop quizzes that your friends give you and you do well on. The best way to know that you're ready to take the RHIA, to take the RHIT, is to do a practice exam, because you're going, and when I say take exam, like taking an actual exam, I mean time yourself, sit down in a quiet environment, time yourself and do the question as if you're in the real testing site. And the score that you get and how well you do is the best indicator of where you are currently in your testing journey. So that's another benefit, once again, of doing practice questions or gaining an actual physical exam. If you're able to get your hands on some good questions, is to see truly how ready you are for the exam. And you can confirm that by taking practice questions. So those are my 4. For those that are in here in the chat and who missed the introduction, I am just addressing the importance of taking practice questions. It's good to know concepts, but if you're not testing your knowledge using practice questions, then you're actually not going to fully know if you're actually ready to take your RHIA or your RHIT. Okay. So like I said earlier, this is going to be a pretty short one today. I am still recovering from Hurricane Beryl. And shout out to anyone else who may have been impacted by the hurricane. I hope that everyone gets their power and everything soon. But that is what I wanted to cover today, was just about being fully ready for this exam. And it requires, once again, taking as many practice questions as possible. Okay, great question. I'm sure you're thinking this. Where do I go to get practice questions? First place, you want to make sure that you're using the RHIA exam practice exam book that they sell. That book that they sell has 820 practice questions. You should not sit down for that exam until you have answered every single one of those questions and you understand the rationale for every single one of those questions. On this channel, we do cover some of those questions in our RHIA Rapids. They're not all there, okay, but there are some live explanations as to why things were the answer for those that need some assistance, but make sure that you review that. Now, an issue I see with a lot of students is they look at those questions so many times to the point that they've memorized the answers and they're no longer learning or not really actually preparing at this point. They're just memorizing and feel ready because they've seen the question so many times. And that is why, for those people, I do have on my physical website, and I'm going to actually pull it up. I do have resources so that you guys have other avenues, other ways to actually practice your test readiness for your exam. So I am going to quickly share my screen again. And when I share my screen, I'm going to walk you guys through some of the resources that I have available for students that have probably gone through all of the questions that AHIMA provides, and they just need some more things, like just some more resources. And I am going to give you guys some options. You don't have to answer these questions to pass. I'm not saying that, but for those that are looking for additional questions to help them, this is a good place to start. So I'm going to share my screen one more time here before we close this live. Make sure I hit the right button here. I did. So what I'm now is the RHIA, RHIA Essential website. This is my company website. And if you're looking for more questions, then the steps that you want to take is as follows. All right. Right here under courses, I'm going to click on courses if it lets me. Right here under courses, you're going to see a whole of different stuff. Now we're focusing right now on practice questions. Okay. And so I have things for RHIT people and RHIA folks. So I'm helping both sides here. If you're trying to take your RHIA, then I have something called the RHIA Practice Exam Package. For 30 days, you gain access to a set of questions. If you want to learn more about what exactly is in this package, you're going to click I want, to learn more, obviously, and you'll be able to read all of the information. You'll be able to gain access to these questions for, once again, like I said, 30 days. I'm going to share what popped up so that you guys can see it. But like I mentioned, for folks that have memorized the questions in the past and you are looking for more questions to see how ready you are, I have questions arranged by domain, and then where you can kind of see where you are. And then there's going to also be a RHIA practice exam for you as well. So this is one resource, like I said, is $30 for 30 days of access. So if you need 60 days of access, then you would need to re-up on your subscription, and it would be 10 months after that. And of course, this is not a trick. If you don't need it anymore, cancel it. We've got a lot of good reviews about this package. So if you're looking for questions, this is obviously one avenue to take from my platform. All right. Now, if you're like, okay, I did those, I've done that in the past, Juliette, that was cool, it was great, but I need more questions, then hey, good luck. There is 2 more resources here. If once again you're taking the RHIA or the RHIT for that matter, and you're looking for some more questions, then here is another one. This one right here, RHIT, let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. RHIT, RHIA practice exam. This is an actual physical exam. It is 100 questions. So whether you're taking the RHIT or the RHIA, you would be able to click here and test yourself with these questions. This is a one-time fee. You pay the $30 and it's your exam, and you test yourself, hopefully, and you see just how well you do. And I love this exam because the questions are very, very, very realistic and will let you know exactly where you need to do some more studying and do some more digging outside of doing questions. So we also have that as well. For those that are taking the RHIT, I believe we have an RHIT package. I'm going to see if I can find it on here. I believe we have a RHIT. I think the RHIT is just this one, but I believe my team is currently working on something like another RHIT practice exam as well. So that's something that's coming up for those that are more focused on the RHIT. But I'm showing you all of this just to let you guys know that if you need more questions, we do have them available. And if you don't need them, that's okay. Just please make sure that you take my advice about doing as many practice questions as possible. You should have taken at least minimum 820 practice questions before you sit in for that exam, because you're going to want to just slap yourself if you leave that testing site, don't do well, open that book and realize that the concepts that you missed were right there in your face in that book, and you just did not get a chance to look over it. So please make out time to do practice questions. All right. Now, does anyone have any questions for me in the chat before we end this live? Any questions at all for me? Any questions? The floor is open. Any questions? Okay, and I am not seeing. Okay, no questions. I don't see any questions. So we're gonna go off and end this here. If you are someone that ends up taking the questions and then they realize midway through that, you know what, I don't really understand the concepts all too well, and I just need someone to help guide me through the concepts to know to pass my RHIA exam, then that is where on the same page, for those that are still here, we also have the courses. Okay, we have the RHIA premium course and standard course, and both of these courses are going to teach you the fundamentals that you need in order to be able to successfully answer a RHIA practice question correctly. And the courses will also teach you, and I believe it's just a premium though, will also teach you how to address or how to approach these questions, these RHIA questions, because there is a strategy that I do talk about in the premium package. Okay, so for those that needed to hear that, it is here for you. Everything is available on our courses page of our website. Okay, so that is all that I had for you guys today. You guys are doing lovely. I will go ahead and do a concepts Insight Tuesday next Tuesday. And for this Insight Tuesday, just wanted to first explain what happened last week. So for those that were excited about Insight Tuesday, I do apologize. It was a natural disaster that kind of shook us over here down south. And so I was unable to do Insight Tuesday because I had no electricity and no Wi-Fi. But I am back. We are here, and I'm excited to help you guys as much as I can with my resources to get you guys certified. Okay, so once again, please share this resource, Insight Tuesday, RHIA Essential, all the things that we're doing. Please share with anyone that you know that is preparing for these certifications or will be preparing for these certifications in the future. And I will, of course, like I always say, see you somewhere on social media. So you guys have a great evening. My time is up. I am right on time here, and I will see you guys next week. All right. Bye, everyone.